All right, people. So we are going season one, that is relationships, and episode two, that is emotions. Okay, so we're going to talk about emotions, what exactly they are. We're not going to go into the depth because that will take me 14 hours to explain the whole thing. But let's go into the basics. Okay, so we're going to go into the basics of firstly male and female. Testosterone is what men have more than women, and estrogen is what women have more than men. Okay, now when these things are slightly imbalanced, then you have a very that's a whole different chapter which we will talk about later. But basically, you have to understand that testosterone has a certain nature, and estrogen has a certain nature. Right? No matter how much people say that you are discriminating against men and women and etc. The fact is that physically speaking, men are stronger. Why is that? Because of testosterone. Okay, because testosterone tries to push more muscles, tries to create more muscles because of the nature of men, the way men have been across time. And estrogen has certain other things where it is trying to teach you how to nurture. Okay, it is trying to gain fat for having a baby, etc., etc. So these are the two main things that control you. Now from these come emotion. Okay, they are not connected. Everyone has these emotions and everyone has both of these. It's just that men have it in a higher proportion, that they got it in the mother's stomach and even throughout their lives. Women have this in a higher proportion. Now let's talk about emotions, like proper emotions, right? So you feel excited, you feel angry, you feel sad, whatever, or you even feel greedy, you feel fear, whatever. All these things, and the proportion that you feel it at and the amount that you feel it at, it all completely depends on a lot of factors, right? How you the nutrition you got in the womb, how you were raised, the nature, nurture, everything that has been created around you, you are a product of. So people feel different emotions for different things. Some people don't feel emotions, they barely feel emotions. Okay, so what exactly are emotions and why do they destroy and create our relationships, and why must they always be based in logic? This is what I'm going to be talking about today. Okay, so now you have oxytocin. Oxytocin is the bonding chemical. Okay, it helps you bond, it helps you fall in love. So when a father holds his baby, okay, the theory is that he releases massive amounts of oxytocin, much more than when say he's cuddling with a woman. Okay, or when he falls in love with a woman. That is what the theory is. Right? A baby feels oxytocin when there is, or it gets oxytocin when there is skin to skin touch, which is why they insist on skin to skin touch. There is the theory is still out, the jury is still out on whether it is important or not. Okay, then you have adrenaline. Adrenaline is like a survival chemical. Like it is something you can even feel when you're aroused, when you're horny, right? So it's something, it's the fight or flight. So either you can run with adrenaline or you can fight with adrenaline. Either ways, with men especially, it becomes tunnel vision. Why is that? Because men tended to run towards a prey or away from a prey, away from someone who is attacking you, a predator, right? So that is what adrenaline does. It has a fight or flight chemical. This is dopamine. Dopamine is something that motivates you, it forces you to do things, eat, etc., etc., right? So it sort of excites you about things. Now when you have a dopamine high, right, you're always expecting things but you're never getting much. No matter what, your dopamine could be for $1 million, you get $1 million, then you still have leftover dopamine, so you use that dopamine to look for the next million. That is why we go from one place to other. That's where our greed comes. That's often a lot of where our fear comes. If you constantly have dopamine hits, right, and you're not getting what you want because you're never getting what you want, right, and that point of time you will feel that fear. Okay, first you'll have greed, then you'll feel a certain kind of fear. That's kind of what the stock market is dictated by, right? Then you have serotonin, which is the this of satisfaction. When you're satisfied, when you're chilled, when you're enjoying your life. Okay, it's something that you feel after after going to the toilet, you feel really good, right? Or you feel after a great workout, which is also endorphins and serotonin. So these are essentially the chemicals of satisfaction, where they told you, okay, enough. This pushes you to do things. Okay, this satisfies you in a way. Okay, this makes you run around. Okay, and this bonds you with other people for survival. Now how do you get rid of emotions, and why is it so important to get rid of them? Should we get rid of them? What I will clearly say here is that emotions in a way distract you from living. Okay, distract you from living well. They are also the juice of life. So how do you do them? You base them on logic. Don't let them take you anywhere. If you're pushed by dopamine, you will end up in a bad state. If you're pushed by adrenaline, you will end up in a bad state at some point of time. You're going to keep going until you crash and burn. And after a point, you're going to crash and burn. Right. So if you're aiming for something, try and aim for serotonin. That should be the idea. So how does one reach that point where you're satisfied, where you're observing your emotions, you're enjoying them also, but you're not letting them take you away. Okay, observe them, accept them, okay, and control them after a point. Your emotions are within you. Okay, just because everyone tells you that you cannot control your emotions, that is bullshit. You are completely in charge of your body. It's just that you have been told that you're not in charge of your body, that it's very difficult for you to get this right, and therefore you think that you're not in control. So if you observe them, like you keep looking at them and you base them completely on logic, why am I feeling this and what am I feeling? These are the basic. There are many more chemicals here. There is melatonin, which helps you sleep, okay, which regulates your mood, which regulates your sleep cycle, etc. So there are many others, but these are the basic ones, what you're feeling. So when you observe them, then you accept them. Okay, I feel an excess of anger when this happens, but why am I feeling anger here? I'm feeling anger because something is not happening according to the way I want. Why do I want this? Why do I need this to happen? Is it related to my survival? And you'll see that 90% of the time it's not related to your survival. It is just you identifying yourself with others. So when you identify with yourself with too many things, your emotions will be unstable because your everything is in a moving state except for you, unless you're beaten or unless you're of lower mental capacity. That's a different thing. But if you're a normal person, within you everything is stable. It's just that you are letting yourself go out. So if you observe, okay, then accept that this is, I feel a little excess of this, maybe I feel a little less of this, maybe I don't care enough for people, so I will learn to up my oxytocin, care more for people, okay, think about people more, and maybe I'll reduce my dopamine obsession, maybe I'll reduce my phone, using my phone or something like that. So all these lifestyle changes, okay, are going to lead you to controlling your emotions more or less, which is eventually going to lead you to control your life, which is control. You, once you control your emotions, you will control your life. Okay, so that is how basically these things are felt. Now they say women feel extra emotions and men feel a little less emotions. That's not true. They just feel very different sets of emotions. Okay, and a man tends to be a little less emotional because he has more work to do. If you see from a historical point of view, right, a man had to go out and attack a mammoth. When he had to attack a mammoth, he could not have emotion. If he had emotion at that point, his people would starve. Okay, so you have to be a little logicless, a little bit crazy, and a little bit emotionless to go and attack a mammoth. A little bit irresponsible. Whereas a woman tends to take life more seriously. Why is that? Because if she attacks a mammoth, not only she dies, but her children die. Okay, and the whole tribe dies eventually. So that is why a woman has to be slightly more emotional, slightly more bonded to her children, to her whatever, her spouse or everyone in the tribe, and try and take care of them and keep them alive. So both of these, men and women, are trying to keep the tribe alive. That is all that is there. There is nothing else to it. And that is why certain emotions are used by nature to keep you in there. What you should do as a human being, having choice, etc., etc., is to use whatever emotion that situation requires. Does it require adrenaline? Use it. Does it require dopamine? Use it. Sure. Does it require endorphins? Okay. You can control these things by doing certain things. Even oxytocin. Do I need oxytocin at this point of time? Is it useful for me or is it taking me ori? So you become, even testosterone and estrogen, you can produce both of these things in whatever amount you need to. Okay, it's if a woman is put in a stressful situation, she'll produce more testosterone. If a man is put in a stressful in a home situation where he has to take care of kids, he'll produce more estrogen. It's that simple. So nature herself is adjusting for you. Why can't you learn to adjust yourself? Okay, so let's take questions.
What happens when emotions take you over?
That's the whole point. See, when emotions take you over, na, you are going towards a goal with no particular. It's like you've lost your brakes. Okay, so fair, accelerator is needed, but how will you use brakes? So brakes are the mind, and emotions are basically the accelerator, which is taking you towards this. Any other questions?
Why are men discouraged from expressing their emotions in today's world?
That's a very good question. So, why men are discouraged and why women are encouraged is because in our biology, right? Biology becomes sociology, right? So, our biology is that we were naturally slightly more inclined towards, let's say, sitting on a rock, okay, observing the jungle and being quiet and waiting for the predator. So, you may have emotions, but your nature is to be silent, right? So people will be like, okay, your nature is like that, na? Be silent, don't talk about anything. Whereas a woman will express more because she has to express more. The more she gossips, the better her tribe survives. Why does her tribe survive better? Because if you are gossiping about the scorpion outside the cave, no one's going to go outside the cave, or maybe one or two will, and most of the tribe will survive. Similarly, a man cannot talk about it because the moment he talks, he's distracted the mammoth. So it's just that we are basically still at that animal level. So men were more quiet, women were more talkative, and what society does, it just pushes you in that direction. It does not care about your personality, your individuality. It does not have the time. So it is only thinking, okay, you whichever direction you want to go, 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 go. Therefore, men ambition, ambition, ambition. Women home, home, home. That's all.